Mr. Johnson, any allocution on behalf of your client prior to sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may. Very few people, I think, in this courtroom have the experience of going into a jail to meet your client for the first time. I know Your Honor has. And it's a strange feeling to go in there, because usually when we go in there, Judge, we've read a police report, and in some of those cases it describes something just horrible, just the terrible things that happen. And we go into those jail cells and we see this client, and we're looking because we're expecting to see horns in the tail and the pitchfork. That's what is being described. And we get in there and we see just a person who is now facing jeopardy due to the worst thing that she's ever done in her life. And whatever else has made this person that way is not in the guideline scores. In my client's case, Judge, as you've read the pre-sentence and the people have read it and it's been admitted, her biological father, my client's biological father, died when she was 8 years old. And he also sexually and physically abused her, which means he began before she turned 8. And as the court is aware, we don't catch these guys the first time, and especially when force and violence is used, they can hide their transgressions for years. Once this man is out of her life, another man comes into her life, her stepfather, who does the same thing until she's old enough to move out of the house. The court is also aware that my client has also had the burden of mental health issues. And quite frankly, the reality is when people are conditioned to believe that that's the sort of treatment that they deserve by their father and their stepfather, and their mother's not going to protect them, they tend to seek out that sort of abuse in the spouses. So the abuse continues all through the youth of her life until she finally frees herself with this man. And what does she do when she frees herself? She puts without resources, she has no wealth. Without resources, she puts herself through college. She puts herself through law school. She not just puts herself through, she's second in her class in college, and she's second in her class in law school. And she has, eight books from school, which she's, jokingly told us twice when her stepfather had. They talked about things. She goes on and she provides a home for her 3 children and her ailing husband while going to school full time, while being a mother full time, while working full time. She does all these things. But she makes a mistake. She makes one decision she shouldn't have made. She says yes. She has no criminal history. I couldn't find a speeding ticket. She raised dogs. She did Herculean stuff. When she got that phone call telling her that Timothy is either going to come to her or he was going to go into foster care, she says yes. Had she said no, I already have a house full of people I can't afford. We don't have the resources. Had she said no, my husband's sick. I have a 20-year-old son who's still living off us, sleeping on the couch. Had she said no, Timothy would be alive today. And he would probably be in the loving care of a foster family, probably someone who could take care of kids with special needs. Had she said no, with her academic backgrounds, and quite frankly, given the fact of she has a relative in the legal profession who's highly regarded in the profession, she would now be practicing law and probably be doing very well at it, given her academic abilities. But she didn't say no. She did what moms do. She said, that's my boy, my baby, I'm taking him home, and I'm bringing him into the house. She brought him in knowing that she shouldn't have him there because she doesn't have custody. She brought him in knowing that she couldn't get him into schools and get him into because he didn't have custody. her ex-husband was not going to assist her in that. She brought him in knowing she wasn't going to get any more financial assistance. It wasn't her intention for us to be here. It was never her intention. Something broke. If she had said no, or if we wouldn't be here, something broke. Judge, this case makes no sense to anybody. There is no gain for her from this conduct. And if the court heard the transcripts of those emails, those text messages, she and Paul are unaware of the damage. They don't see it. How could you not see it? Because something's broken. There's no specific intent here. There's no intention. Her intention was to mother her kids like she did the other two children that were in her household. That was her intention. Her intention was to provide, as she did with the other two kids. You don't see this with the other children. This is just something about this boy and this woman broke. 30 years ago, we didn't know about postpartum depression. 20 years ago, we didn't know about postpartum psychosis. Someday, somebody's going to tell us what's wrong with this woman and why anyone will be capable of what she did. Someone's going to explain it. 400 years ago, we burned people like her at the stake because the bloodlust was there. And that's what made people feel better, and that was their solution to a horrible situation. Well, there is Mr. Roberts' description of this offense. Nothing's inaccurate. Nothing he said do I disagree with. But I think you have to add in the part that something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. And even if we can't put a label on it, we all know it. Timothy was her blood son. This wasn't some child. This wasn't a financial gain. This wasn't a stranger. This was her blood. She gave birth to this boy. And yet she was able to do what she did. Something's broken. The human mind just its capacities and its reasonings. I don't claim to understand, but we can look at her life before then and the circumstances, and they come together. And unfortunately, Timothy is the victim of it. That we get that. But the idea that this is premeditated or she intended, when they found the video show when she was surprised. She was surprised when he passed. Something's amiss. And I'm asking the court to respond to that reality. The easiest thing would be to exceed the guidelines. But I'm asking the court to do the hard thing, and that is to respond to reality. This is a person who, if she had said no, 10 years from now she'll be practicing law, and people will be asking her to come and speak to high schools to talk about how you overcome what you've overcome. The mental health issues, the abuse from man after man after man. This was a survivor and a person who pulled herself up by her own bootstraps, no resources, all on her own, all her effort. This is what she's done as well. And it's unfortunate, it's horrible for Timothy, and it's horrible for her. But at the end of the day, we're not looking at evil, we're looking at sick. And I'd ask the court to apply that standard. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Vander Ark, do you wish to say anything prior to sentencing?